exciting, everyone. This is Booktrovert Besties. We are your podcast host, Amber and Elaine, and today we are going to be covering Zodiac Book 2, Ruthless Fae.
And we have our rated R warning. Got a little spicy scenes in here, so if that triggers you in any way, or if you have any little ones, please make sure you put them away and check the trigger warning.
All right, and here's your spoiler warning. We're going to be talking about everything that happens in Zodiac Academy Book 2. We're going to be talking about plot points, character relationships, what we loved, what we didn't love, and what we expect to happen in Book 3. So if you haven't read it, go read it and come back later. All right, I'm going to do a very quick summary. I say that every week and it draws out, but this week I'm really going to try to keep it short. We got a whole lot of character development and relationship builds, but we didn't have a whole lot of critical, monumental events happen in this book, so I should be able to keep it really short. This book picks up right after the first book ended, the night of the dance, after Tori and Darcy have been humiliated, they have been beaten down, broken, and they decide they're going to tuck their tails and they're going to go back to the mortal world. They devise a plan. Darcy's going to go to Orion's office and steal Stardust. Tori's going to go to Darius's room and steal some gold so that they don't show up in the mortal world empty-handed. When Tori goes to Darius's room to get the gold, she fills up her backpack with as much as she can manage to carry. She takes a step back and she realizes it doesn't even make a dent in his treasure. So she's not happy with this. She wants him to feel the effects of this. She wants him to know someone stole from him. She wants him to feel badly. So she decides she's going to burn his room down. She makes it look like an accident, like his sweatpants caught fire and it melted down all of his gold. But in the end, she is happy about this. The petty part of her is to feel that at least something bad is going to happen to Darius' crew. When Tori and Darcy meet back up, they decide they're not going to leave after all. They don't want to be defeated by these guys. This is the first time they felt like they were at home. This is the first time they felt like they belonged somewhere in Solaria, so they're not going to let the Celestial Heirs take that away from them. Tori tells Darcy about what she did to Darius' room and how she covered her tracks. She's sure she won't get caught. And this helps them form the plan of their revenge. They can't match these guys one-on-one. They're not powerful enough to take them on directly. But they can do sneaky, stealthy stuff. Like, they can get their revenge in little pieces, bit by bit. So it starts with Darius' room. They melted down all of his gold. Then they start a crazy rumor about Caleb that he has a fetish for Pegasus. Which, when I say Pegasus, think rainbow unicorns. Like, they're the laughing stock of the orders. So for some big, tough, powerful celestial heir to have a Pegasus fetish is kind of embarrassing. They put a blow-up doll in his room. Hilarity ensues. It's madness. First Seth, he's a werewolf, so they give him fleas, which that's kind of twofold. One, it's annoying, it's frustrating, it's uncomfortable, but at the same time, werewolves have pack mentality. They sleep together, eat together, shower together, they do other things together, we find out. And once Seth has fleas, none of them will even touch him. They don't want to be around him, they don't want to be in the same room as him. This is upsetting to Seth, obviously. He's paying for it, and he is hurt by it, and the girls couldn't be happy. At the very end of the book, before the big pitfall match, they rub Griffin poo all over Max's uniform. Griffin poo will give you a rash, but because Max is a siren, his skin is 10 times more sensitive, hence 10 times worse the rash. He gets purple welts all over him, he's burning, itching. So the girls get their revenge bit by bit throughout the book. About halfway through the book, Darius makes a deal with Tori. He needs her to accompany him to his father's party Saturday night. His father wants to meet the Vega twins. He wants to introduce them to the rest of the council. And Darius more or less says, I really need you to come to this party. And Tori's like, why would I do that for you? I'm not going anywhere with you. And Darius says, no one says no to my father. Like, you have to come. We have to figure this out. So they make a deal. He will help Tori train and practice her fire magic. And in turn, her and Darcy will go to this party. He keeps his end of the bargain. He does work out with her. He helps her control her fire. She does get better at it. And then the night of the party comes. A lot of things happen at this party. They meet some of the celestial parents. That reaction is mixed. Some of the parents are kinder to Darcy and Tori than the other ones are. Obviously, Darius' dad is the worst kind of guy. He's a jackass, power hungry. He's awful to Darius. We find out he beats him. I mean, he's an awful guy. He wants no part of the Vega twins, but Tori doesn't back down. She gives it to him right back. Every time he insults her, she insults him. And a lot of things happen. Darcy and Orion have a very sweet private moment, which we'll talk about that later. Tori ends up hooking up with Caleb. at the party, and Darius finds out, and this is the first time this love triangle starts to sort of form between the three of them. Darius is obviously jealous. Not that he's ever given Tori any reason to believe he's into her, but as readers, we know that he ultimately is. You get a POV chapter from Lance Orion, and at the party, he hears his mother and Darius' father talking about something they're going to do the night of the lunar eclipse, which is in a week. We don't know very much. We know it's bad news. We know the last time they attempted it, Orion's sister Clara died, and we know that him and Darius have got to try to stop it. When they get back to campus, the next day is the big pitball match in the arena. They're all psyched for it. They're going up against Starlight Academy, and they're sure to win. But this is really the culmination of all of their revenge and petty tactics because Darius is distracted. Tori has planted some evidence that one of his most loyal and faithful followers might have stolen his gold. So he's distracted. He's beaten up about it. Caleb is distracted. He's been getting made fun of for the past few weeks about this Pegasus fetish. The other team is throwing around blow-up Pegasus dolls to distract him. Max is in pain because of this rash, and Seth has got fleas, and his pack won't have anything to do with him. Needless to say, Tori and Darcy have sabotaged the team. They lose the match, and they're feeling pretty good about themselves until the very end. After the game, Nymphs attack the stadium. Teachers and students scramble alike. They're all fighting. The ones that have their orders turn if they can and escape the amphitheater. But Tori and Darcy fight alongside the heirs, trying to hold off the nymphs, and Tori and Darcy end up expelling some brand new fancy magic in the form of like firebirds to attack the nymphs. It ends up being really destructive to the nymphs, which makes me think they're extremely special and they're going to be extremely powerful. But that's how the book ends, is they end up beating back the nymphs. Tori and Darcy pretty much save Orion and Darius, and that's it. And then we'll find out what happens. On to the next book. Okay, you want to rate it?
I'm going to rate it a 3.5. I had 3 last week for the first book. I'm going up 3.5 because it was a lot more interesting. Still haven't given me that factor yet, but I gave it a 3.5. What about you?
So I was really gracious last week, and I gave the first book a 3.8, so that doesn't leave me very far to go.
He was very gracious.
When I read books, like there's a huge difference between a 3 and a 4, and there's a huge difference between a 4 and a 5. So I'm going to go ahead and give this a 4.0 because I think 4.1 and 4.2, it's not quite there yet. It was better than the first book. It was more interesting. I like the character development and the relationship development. Like I said, there wasn't a lot of heavy critical plot points outside of their revenge, the party, and the pitball match. This 550-page book covers like a week's time. But you get a lot of back information about these characters and some of the bonds and some of the relationships, and I did enjoy reading all that. I'm ready to read the next book. I'm excited to read the third one.
As
and
am
I did think this was leaps and bounds better than the first book.
I agree.
All right.
So
you want to talk about these? You want to talk about these celestial heirs again?
I do. Okay. So I was laughing and giggling the whole time watching The Revenge. I loved every minute of it. I thought it was clever how they did it, how they zeroed in on each of their orders to know what would cause them the most embarrassment. I love that. And they didn't even have to use any powers or anything like that. They was able to do it just being them as if they was in the mortal world. They did that without any of the magic or any system. So I really enjoyed that. I think that it knocked them down a little bit, a lot of it. I think that they are now starting to realize that these girls are, because right now they don't know that it was them who did it, but I do feel like at the end of the book, the heirs are starting to realize that these girls are going to be very, very powerful, and they are shaking in their boots, and I love that for them. I really do. I
think towards the end of the book, Darius was starting to put it together almost.
You think so?
I think he'll be the one to figure out that it's the girls that have been behind. I think they're going to find out that it's been them behind all of it. But like you said, this is the first time they've ever been challenged. This is the first time anyone's ever embarrassed them or stolen from them or hurt them intentionally or made them the laughing stock of the school. So they're all getting a taste of their own medicine. And what a beautiful thing for Darcy and Tori. Whether they get the acknowledgement for it or not, to give them a taste of their own medicine and have them experience even just an ounce of what they've had to deal with since they got to Zodiac Academy is a beautiful thing.
So I think Lance O'Ryan is going to be the one who finds out. I say this because, first of all, Lance is
He
he's
probably already knows.
he knows. I think he does because he's giving them information, knowing that these errors have been ganging up on them, and he's giving Blue, the information that she needed, and knowing that she's smart and she's gonna take it the extra mile, and giving her the power, like, oh, so you're not Faye, you don't deserve to be here. Like, are you really gonna let them? You're not strong. You and your sister are weak, right? Like, basically giving her that push to
The
keep
motivation.
going. The
Yeah.
motivation, yes. I think he's going to be the first to find out. And I also think that Lance does not care for the other heirs. I think he cares for them very little. I
We have
do.
so much to
Because
talk about. I feel like we have
I
so much to talk
know
about.
we do. And it's exciting.
So Lance and Darius are bonded, like soul bonded. And Lance is his guardian. So Lance literally instinctually, he can't fight against it, will put himself in front of Darius if a bullet is headed at it. Like it's instinctually ingrained in him. That is such reading that bond was weird in some place. Like they're so connected that they cannot stand to be away from each other. Like Darius talked about one moment where he tried to spend the weekend with his girlfriend, and he literally flew back to Lance Orion in his dragon form, where he found Lance belligerent drunk because he was missing Darius so much, and then they proceeded to sleep in the same bed together for the next 2 days, and like had to resist spooning each other.
I think they're going to hunch. Yes.
But they better not.
I mean,
I think Lance Orion is Darcy's Elysian mate.
you said one more time.
I think Lance Orion is Darcy's Elysian.
I agree. And I think that Darius is Tori's.
I do too. So Elysian mates were brought up multiple times in this book. Once by one of the heirs, I think Max, and then the other time the Professor Zenith was talking about the different bonds between Fae. And she said there's 3 different bonds. There's Nebula allies, which is like your soulmate and a friend. Then there's Elysian mates, and that when you find your mate, you're drawn to them. You can't stand to be without them. You have a divine moment, and then you seal the bond. And then there are astral adversaries who you're like pitted against. You're going to continue to fight with each other basically until the death, I guess. But I don't think they would have went into so much detail about mates if it wasn't going to be an occurring theme in the book. And for Darcy and Orion especially, I think you're right. I think Tori and Darius are also mates. But for Darcy and Orion especially, there's all this like foreboding, like, I want to be with you, but I can't. Something draws me to you. Like, Darcy will talk about how she wants to reach out and touch him, but she knows she shouldn't. And like, you can tell he feels the same way. Like, he's following her around, he's stalking her, and like the fact, like you said, he's giving her all this information and all this help, like to grow her hair back. Yeah. Like he gives her the list of ingredients, he tells her where to find the list of ingredients in the library, and then he helps her get into the actual ingredient closet, and like he is very attuned to her, but he also pisses me off.
Why does he piss you off?
Because they have this moment at the party where he makes like this air bubble at the bottom of the pool, and
yes, it was a beautiful moment. Yes.
Loved it. But okay, so there's this like forbidden air about their romance because he's professor and she's student. But I don't think that's what it really is. Because let's be honest, at Zodiac Academy, professors are not held to the same standard that professors in the mortal world are held to, okay? You've got Professor Washer, who wants to hit on people and watch people's sex memories. He is nasty. So you're not going to tell me that Professor Orion is that worried about Zodiac Academy's reaction. He is more worried about his loyalty to Darius Accrew and the rest of the Celestial Council and the Celestial Heirs. He says, I could never be with the Savage King's daughter. And that pisses me off because you know that she's not like that. You know that she's different. And you're so bound to Darius and to this whole idea of Celestial Heirs and these boys that you're willing to deny her. Like, it's so sad. That moment is so romantic and so tender and so sweet. But it is so sad because Darcy knows it's over before it even begins. Like, she knows it can he's already telling her he regrets it in the middle of it. He's already like, this can never happen again. We can never have this again. We'll never be more than teacher and student. Like, it's so sad to me.
And in this moment, Darcy is in love. She is in love with him. And he's in love with her too. I don't care what he says. He's in love with her too.
Crazy. Like, you know she's the one.
He loves her dirty draws. And I'm just saying, I don't think that it's going to matter that much. I think that after this book, I think he's gonna say, "To hell with everything. I'm getting my girls, baby, baby. What color you coloring the tips of your hair? I'll help you do it." I think he's gonna be. I think he's gonna be book boyfriend. I think Lance he's got the potential. He's got it.
I love the whole Professor student thing. Like,
okay.
like when he's like, "Don't look at me like that," and she's like what?
Like what?
Says, I'm your teacher, and she says, "I know." He says, "Well, don't look at me like that," and she says, "Well, don't look back." Like, I love that sort of like tension and secrecy, forbidden romance. It's just irritating me that the reason he's not taking that next step is because of Darius and the Celestials.
And this is with them too. It is a very slow burn with them too. I think that is our slow burn.
Here for it.
Yes, I think it's gonna when that burn is, honey, they gonna burn.
I'm here for it. I can deal with the tantalizing slow burn. That's what I hope it is. And like for Darius, so let's switch gears. For Darius and Tori, I feel like this is more of a true enemies to lovers.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
So let's talk about before we talk about Darius and Tori, let's talk about these redemption arcs that are already starting to a little bit. The only celestial heir that I still hate and wish would die is Seth, the werewolf.
Seth is a dick.
Cannot stand
and he's
him.
Cringy.
He is so gross. He wore Darcy's hair around his wrist the whole book that he cut off in the last book. He wore it in a braid around his wrist. And then his girlfriend's like, he smells it when no one's looking. Like, ew.
But here come Professor Orion. Give me that right now.
Give me that back. I need that bracelet.
I loved it. And then he gave it. Yes, then he gave it back to Darcy. That's why I said that man love her, honey. Yeah, you're not going to wear my woman's hair around your wrist.
Every time he punishes the boys or the boys, he's always a little bit harder on Seth. Like, he's always a little bit worse on Seth.
Yes.
So I don't feel like there's been any redemption for Seth whatsoever. And like this whole thing about him making Darcy part of his pack, like, screw
what
you.
What the fuck was even that?
Like, what? He's so nasty with all of his like werewolf orgy stuff. Like, that was such a turn off. Like, that made me gag.
And then just the aspect of just sitting down talking with my friends. Then here comes this crazy motherfucker. Excuse my language. This crazy guy running up on me, rubbing and nuzzling me, and what are you? We can't be friends no more.
His mom.
He licked the face like big wet. Okay, so I have a slobophobia.
Even if he was the nicest guy ever, that would not fly with me.
No. I have a slobophobia. It's real bad. And if somebody was to come, mother, I don't care if it was the blood of Christ. If you come down here and lick my face, sir, go ahead and send me to hell, because it's about to be open.
Oh, Lord. Seth is the worst. I don't feel like I got any redemption for him. He gave me the cringe and the ick the whole book. Like, I don't want anything to do with him.
No.
Max is my second least favorite, but he started to get a little bit of redemption arc because he does that siren song thing and he pulls Tori to him.
That was a good moment.
And she can see in his mind, and she sees that, number one, and this was the part that I really liked. Number one, when he says he likes the taste of fear, he doesn't really like the taste of fear. He likes the peace that it brings people when he takes some of their fear.
Yes.
That's so much better. Just say that.
Just say that. But I feel like he's having to act all macho and all this because he don't want anybody to look into his past because he is not a full-blooded Fae. His mother is just some random lady, and his father is trying to cover it up. His stepmom hates the shit out of him. So if any wrong turn, his stepmom can bust him all out, and it's gonna cause this big uproar in Solaria because he's not full blown.
Right, so since
the bloodline is not pure.
He got lucky that he was a siren because somewhere in his blood is less siren than because I guess his stepmom's a siren. But, like, his mom clearly wasn't. So, theoretically, if he married somebody else, his children would have less of a chance. And like, now, I guess because they said that certain orders have gone extinct, like Hydra, Phoenix, there was different ones that have gone extinct. But now they do, like, arranged marriages within the orders to try to keep, like, Darius' promise to his ugly cousin because they're both dragons. So they're trying to keep, like, the orders pure, the line pure. So, like, Max is a bastard, so theoretically he wouldn't be the purest offspring. His stepsister would, I think, his sister. So Tori finds this out, and so you get a little bit of a reason why he's kind of you know, the way he is, but I still don't like him. Like, I don't
Me
have.
either, because even after the fact that Tori found out, after the songs telling whatever it was, after all of that, he still
He
became.
still stole their fear and stuff. He still tried to use his powers against Tarsi and Tori. And to the point where she had to finally tell him, like, don't get in my head again because all my secrets are not my own. And next time, who knows what I might say.
Right. Right.
Right, grimy, gross. Now, let's talk about Caleb next. Caleb tells Tori pretty much at the beginning of the book, like, look, I wasn't allowed to participate in the things that happened. I wasn't even allowed to know about what was going to happen because you're my source, and Vampire Code says I'm not allowed to hurt my source. I'm not allowed to bring them pain. So while I stood there and I didn't stop it, like I really had nothing to do with it. And he says, I even tried to get you away from the dance. Like I even told you to spend the night with me because I knew they were planning something. So it kind of pulls on your strings a little bit, like, okay, you didn't really do whatever. And at first, Tori wants like nothing. She's like, no, I don't care. I'm done with all of you guys. But then he starts to warm up on her a little bit and they end up hooking up. And so I don't hate Caleb. I don't hate him. But I don't think he's the guy. I think he's a distraction for the reader.
Agree, because Tori know in Tori's mind. Now, I think they have different points of view of what they have going on. Because Caleb, in his mind, that's his girl. Okay, that's his woman, and even his source, but that's his sweetheart. Yes, yeah. Tori is just having fun. Yeah. She just wants to be chased. She wants to be chased, baby. Baby girl wants to run for
all this madness. Can I have some fun, please?
Yes, she wants to run for the hills, and you chase me, honey. And if you can catch me, you can suck my blood.
I think he's gonna end up heartbroken, though.
I think yes, she's great. In my mind, I think that Tori and Darius, because Darius gets very, very angry when her and Caleb are either hooking up, making googly eyes at each other, saying something. It don't matter what them two are doing, and Darius is around. He don't like it, and I feel like he's the real one that's going to be with Tori. I mean, if you think about it, they match. He's all Brody and all this
they both
and that.
love super bikes, and they're both
yes.
So I'll be honest. When I was reading the first book, and even before they started training the fire in this book, I almost felt like there was definitely a connection between the two of them. There always has been. I feel like even in the first book, there were like moments of connection between Tori and Darius. Mm-hmm. I was assuming romantic, but I could have also seen like sibling, like maybe there were like half brother, half sister until the training moment because it got freaky. But like even when he gets naked in front of her, she's never like it's never overly sexual. Like it's always sort of like put your clothes on. Like what are you? So at first I was like, well maybe they're like half siblings or something. But now I definitely think they're going to be romantic, especially when he was training her. She was rubbing up all against him and stuff, and it got heated. And I loved that moment because she leaned up at him and she was like, Darius, and he was like, and she was like, not on your life. Like she had the upper hand in that moment. I loved it. And then, like you said, when he sees Caleb and Tori together, he's jealous. Like it's definitely there. It's not explained a whole lot, but even her having that moment with Xavier, Darius's brother, is just like another, like, they're meant to be, like, this is all meant to happen. Like, they're probably Elysian mates too, fated or whatever, because they're just drawn to each other.
I honestly think that he is not coming forth with his affections towards her because of his father. His father is, she called him a twat waffle. He's a twat waffle. And I feel like he's trying to protect her because, the father despises them because he knows they are going to be powerful. Yeah. He knows they are going to dethrone whoever is up next in his life, in the father's life, which would be Darius. And I feel like he's going to try to do something to hurt the twins, and Darius is like, I'm not going to bring her around as my person because it's going to give him more access to them. So I think he's trying to push her away almost, or not stay as, to keep her away, to keep her safe, because his father's,
so while we're talking about redemption arcs, the main plot point of Darius' redemption arc is his father. His father beats him to a pulp every time he doesn't do what he wants. to the point where his guardian Lance can feel his pain and it's always there. Lance Orion tells Darius, he says, I may not always be able to stop him, but I will always be by your side when he beats you. So this is a regular occurrence. And I mean, even and when they're down in the garage and he's showing Tori the super bikes and all that stuff. The reason he gets mouthy with his dad is so that his dad will punish him instead of Tori. So you're right. He does do things to keep her safe from his father. And at the end of the day, he's still in the mindset that he's not going to get a choice in this. Like, he's not going to get a choice who to love. He's going to have to marry his cousin. But I want to know, this is the reason I'm so ready to read book 3, is I want to desperately find out what him and Lance have planned. Darius and Lance have lots of plans. They have plans for Darius's father. They talk about it. They're like, you will control the shadows and you will beat him. So, like, Darius has been biding his time, getting stronger and stronger and stronger to eventually defeat his own father, like eventually take the power away from Lionel, his dad. And Lance is just his guardian. It's almost like Lionel put this bond in place for them, but he almost like screwed himself because now they have gotten so close. They have all these plans together. Like, Lance is helping Darius get stronger. He's teaching him things. I'm so curious to find out what their plans are for Lionel. And I'm also curious to find out what's about to happen on the lunar eclipse. Like,
me too.
What the heck? And the fact that the last time they tried it, Lance's sister Clara died. I'm like, I need to know all of this stuff.
So I feel like Lance is hiding a secret too. Because I feel like he is something more than just a vampire. Because A, he's training a dragon. He's training a dragon as a vampire. And B, there was an instance where it made me think, like, okay, Lance is just not a vampire. I can't remember what it was, but it was like, okay, something's up with this guy.
Well, he talks about you'll be able to control the shadows. Mm-hmm. Okay, but at the same time, like, there's a red flag going off in my brain, like, alarm, 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 because the nymphs live in the shadows. Mm-hmm. And they said some strong fae were controlling the nymphs, but then the nymphs are bad. So I'm like,
what's going on?
What's going on? Is he bad? Is he trying to control the nymphs to take over? Like, what is living? Because there's all these talks about shadows. Not just that, but like even Astrum. Astrum has left the cryptic clue after cryptic clue after cryptic. We don't know what's going on, but he keeps leaving these stupid tarot cards with messages on them. So frustrating.
That is so irritating.
Always mentions of shadows. Shadows this, shadows that. I'm like, are we about to have another shadow daddy on our hands? Or are we talking about the nymphs? Like,
that would be great.
What are we talking about? Like, that's the worst thing about having a book or having a series that's 9 books, 23 book universe, is that you don't know. It could be book 7 before we figure this stuff out. So crazy.
Speaking of the tarot slanger, I am sick of his, buddy, just tell us what you want us to know. Like, you hiding stuff behind picture frames?
I was sure that when they said you'll find the answers between Leo and Libra, they were talking about Darius and Orion, because that's their tattoos on their arm is the opposite, like the other sign. So like Darius is a Leo, he has a Libra sign. Like, it's almost like a brand. It's not even a tattoo. Yeah. So when he said the answers lie between Leo and Libra, I'm like, ooh, the answers are between Darius and Orion. But it's not. It was between 2 stupid junk drawers in Astrum's office.
It's like, what the hell was happening? Like, just tell us, put everything in a secret compartment, in a file, hey, and just give it to us. Not playing hide, go seek. What are we doing?
And then, like you said, the one behind the picture frame, that one was the most cryptic. Like, I don't have any clue. It was,
because what if she hadn't have went to
in that particular hallway? Like,
right.
He had to be like a seer or something. Like, he had to have seen the future or something, because there's no way he would have known Darcy would have been right there. Like, there's no way.
Yeah.
We met so many people in this book, like Darius' brother Xavier.
I like him. And he's a Pegasus, and he's going to sprinkle glitter all over his daddy's house.
Rainbow, sparkly Pegasus, too.
Yes, I like it.
I do, too, but, like, Darius' dad don't like it.
Well, I hope he...
The fact that he wanted to murder his own son because of embarrassment, like...
I hope he lets a fat one off in his face and glitter goes everywhere.
I'm like, I hope that Darius and Tori, like, save
him
and let him be who he wants to be. You know,
I hope so too. Also, we meet.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, go ahead.
Speaking of Pegasus, while we're on I want to talk about the hilarity of Caleb and his Pegasus fetish that they started the rumor for. So they started these rumors on social media that Caleb liked Pegasus, and he kind of blew it off, like, yeah, right, da, 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 da. But it was the most comical thing throughout the entire book. They bought a Pegasex blow up doll and like put it in his room, and he tried to like shove it out the door. So there's all these videos of him like shoving against this thing, and from the back it looks like he's letting him have it. And, like,
because he has no clothes on.
Right, he's naked. Right. So that gets posted all over social media. The Order of Pegasus at the school, they all like transform in front of him one day and like shake their asses at him. Like, you want some of this, Caleb? And then the day of the pitball tournament, they put glitter in his underwear. Screwing up
And then they had the floating Pegasus going up in the air.
That was the funniest part of the whole book to me. I'm like, thank goodness for this comic relief. It was hilarious the whole time. And like, I think he's a pretty good sport about it for the most part. Like, he didn't really get too frustrated or angry about it.
Because he was busting Tori down. That's why he knew what he was doing.
Right, that's true. All right.
So speaking of other characters that we got introduced to, Francesca, which is Orion's buddy for the FIB. She's a Cyclops. I don't like her because I feel like
she's touching mine and Darcy's man. Get your hands off our man.
She's got a thing for him. I think to him she's just, piece of ass, but to her it's different. But I think that when she read Darcy's mind, I think she figured it out. I think she
that her and Orion have something going on.
Yeah, because she said nothing. She was like, "Oh, I got what I need," and dip real quick. Yeah, you seen what was going on, baby girl, did you? He don't want you. He won't.
And then we met the Celestial Heirs. We met some of their parents. The only one I liked was Caleb's mom. I thought
Geraldine's dad.
Oh yeah. But he's not an heir apparent. He's part of the like royal sovereign, whatever.
Yeah.
Handlebar mustache and
yes,
the gooseberry grateful golly gee whiz. I love him. I love Geraldine in this book. Geraldine got a lot of character development in this book. She turns out to be a badass bitch. She's a cyberist with like 3 heads, and she has like she can like dig holes in the earth for them and keeps all their secrets. She's like the MVP of the pitfall. That's why I was about this.
She's the MVP of the book because baby girl came in clutch. Yes. She's biting heads off. She's
let them into the locker room so they can that poo all over Max's uniform. Like, she's there always. And, like, to the point where she even says, like, let me do it, so I'll be the one to take the blame. And they're like, no, you've done enough. Like, we trust you. You trust. This is a friendship. It is mutual. You're not our, like, slave or our servant or whatever. Like, it's a mutual friendship. I
love how the girls at first, when they first met her, they was like running away and trying to, hide from her. But now they are actually friends. And I love that for both of them because I think that Geraldine needed like some real badass friends. And B, I think the girls needed this lady on their side. I think that she's
a loyal friend.
She's loyal. Yes.
And like loyalty, like I don't know about like books and stuff, but real world loyalty means everything. Like that is
absolutely
the highest compliment when you can say someone is loyal. And she is the ultimately loyal friend. She will do whatever they ask, and not only that, but like she's always there for them. And like you said, it's good for her to have some badass chicks in her life because they're bringing it out in her. Like she's like, ooh, what are we gonna do now? Like, okay, let's go, let's do this. I'm so happy that you're getting your vengeance. I'm so happy that you're getting your revenge. Whatever you need from me.
Yes,
I love her.
I love her too.
I always like one thing I will say about this book that I really liked was that we got multiple POVs. We didn't just get Darcy and Tori. We got at least one POV from each Celestial Heir, and we got some Orion POVs. I would love a Geraldine POV.
Could you imagine the laughter?
Let's get it. I would love a Geraldine POV.
I can't wait. I cannot wait. And I think we're gonna get it because they got a book dedicated to the ass. So I'm ready for that one. Yeah. I like it.
I'm excited for her. I'm excited to see what happens with her. And like I could even see like in the future if they end up taking the throne, I can see her being their like right hand or whatever.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
That transforms. I really like their relationship.
Absolutely.
Okay, Professor Washer is still disgusting. I hated when he took Tori's sex memories from her. Like, that was nasty.
My gosh. I feel like
he should get arrested. Like, that.
That's what I'm saying. I feel like he should be on a list of pedophile or something.
He shouldn't be allowed 100 feet within the school, is what we're saying.
Right, that's
This
what I'm
guy
saying.
is a pedophile. He's disgusting. Men and boys and girls, like he is. But
He's,
at the
but
very
he did
end of the
try.
book, he
He
tried to
tried.
save everybody. But that's what you get when you're a nasty ass pedophile. Nobody wants to
Nobody
believe
believe
nothing
you.
you say. You're like little boy
Hmm.
cries. Like
Yes.
he comes at the very end of the book. He's like, darkness is gonna come during the football match. Everyone needs to get out of here. Principal Nova's like, nobody believes anything that you say. Get out of here. And even Darcy and Tori are like,
And he's
crazy
cursing them
Professor
about some
Walker.
run. And
Run,
they just
yeah,
looked at him like, the
right.
fuck?
Because I can believe
Yeah.
anything that you say.
Right. You want us to
Like,
run so you can watch our asses jiggle.
where
God.
are you gonna be hiding when we run? Because
Right.
that guy's a creep.
What do you think about the principal? This bitch's name is Elaine. I really
Is
don't.
her name Elaine?
Yes.
Hilda?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Yes. Her name is Elaine. Um, and
I don't think she's like
I
evil.
don't think she's evil, but I don't think she should be the principal because you're ignoring everything going on in here.
I just think that the author, like, I think the author is trying to create this like whole different world, like that we find like so unbelievable, but that's like, because like just okay, so like Professor Washer's a pedophile, he's disgusting, but at the same time, like the vampires can feed on anybody they want as long as they can't fight them off. Like it's and like all the teachers are, so it's creating this whole like environment that it's
Absurdity.
fun. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's how the Fae live, and it's like okay. Let's
Yeah.
so last week we were like Diego is bad.
So I still think that there's something going on with
I know me
Diego.
too.
I wish it would come out, but I don't think it's gonna come out just yet. I really think that there's something. I don't know if he's maybe because they said nymphs can take the shape of a fae.
Yeah, me maybe. I felt really bad for him through this book because he keeps
I did too.
on by the airs, and even Orion is like
Yeah.
being an ass to him and like breaking his stuff, and I'm like, what's
Yes.
your deal, bro? Like,
But I
don't
wonder if they know something that we don't
picking
know.
on the weak is like not my thing. And like
Me
he's
either.
definitely the weak link. He's the weakling. He's like I don't even deserve to be here kind of guy.
Yes.
But like when you mention Nips, that makes me curious because where
He's
was
there.
he at the end of the book?
Right.
He
Where
saw
was he?
Sophia because he doesn't have an order. So well did he fly off on Sophia?
But check this out. Remember the end of the first book when they was going down the alley and he said that he was taking Sophia home because she was super drunk. And then the next day he was rushing out and she was still super drunk. Like I feel like he's suspicious. I feel like every time there's something wrong, he's either somewhere around or I don't know. I just got a feeling.
I don't know either.
What should I say though?
I definitely don't trust him.
And I'm gonna feel bad if he's not, but
I
in
know
my gut,
because he's been being picked on the whole time, and we're like, he's evil, and then he's like, nah. He'll probably die in the next book saving somebody.
right.
Then we'll be like, sorry, Diego,
Right.
my bad. Sorry, Diego, my bad. But so also though, when they're walking away from the astrology building after their lesson, and Diego is walking with Darcy, and then she goes, "Oh, I forgot my atlas. I have to go back to the astrology building." And then she gets attacked by a nymph. He was like the only person that knew she was going back to the astrology building.
Yes. So I'm just saying, I think he may be. And
Anyway,
also,
that was a wonderful moment because Orion saved her. Because Orion is always following her around and lurking her. I swear he's
acting like is it just a coincidence?
Yeah.
Boy, bye.
I think
You
he's
are
got
either.
her pinged. I think he's got
He
her
do.
load of case.
I think he's got life 360 on this
Because
lady.
when she was getting chased by the werewolves,
The
he like
werewolf. He.
peered out of a building and pulled her into it, and
Mm-hmm.
then was rubbing up all against her, and then got mad at her for it. Like, dude, you're sitting like the mixed signals are crazy, Orion. Like,
Yes.
the mixed signals are crazy, but I think that's his like own inner turmoil,
It very
fighting
much so
against his
is.
feelings or whatever. But he's not doing
Yeah.
a really good job, bruh.
He's not. But I think I'm telling you, he's ready to have her mind blown. He's ready to show her what that vampire action is.
Because
Baby girl's ready to be hooked.
in the pool, he kisses her or whatever, and then like he tells her it can never happen again. It was a one-time thing. Blah 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 blah. But then at the end of the book, she literally saves his life, and he's already. I can see that like wall already crumbling that he built about never being with her. Like no.
Yeah, I think they're gonna be together.
When he says, "Did I tell you you look exceptionally beautiful tonight?" Thank you, Orion.
Yeah, he's definitely gonna be.
I'm telling
He's
you,
gonna
my
be
favorite part of the book was probably when he was like, "Stop looking at me like that," and he says, "I'm your teacher," and she says, "I know. Stop looking at me like that."
good shit. I think that the girls, again, like I said last week, I think the girls are going to be the dragons because they said that there is a bigger dragon than Darius. He's not the biggest.
Okay.
There's this super.
The only reason, I mean, I agree with you. I think they might be dragons. The only reason I think they might not be is because that's too easy for Darius. Like, if she's a dragon, then they can be together. Like, why couldn't they theoretically be together? And I think it's going
His
to be
dad.
more. I mean, I know, but like, even then, I think at this point we know, and they're starting to realize, like you said, Darcy and Tori are extremely powerful. They're going to be more powerful than all the boys combined. So at some point, I feel like the celestial heirs, their way of thinking has to change. So like, why wouldn't you want your son to marry one of them? Because then he'll still be on the throne. You know what I mean? Like at some point, their strategy, and that may even be like another issue with Caleb and Dirk, because they both have that sort of love triangle thing going on. So if that ever becomes an issue, then like, who would be with Tori on the throne? I feel like.
What do you think they're gonna be?
I don't
Do
know.
you
There's
have a
one with
clue?
the Hydra, which I don't even really know what that is, but I know it's super powerful, and they were extinct. I wonder if they'll have the same order or if they'll be two different orders.
Well, they was both throwing out the same fire, the blue and red.
Their power magic, right? And that was like in the shape of wings. So like, I don't know. Maybe dragons. That would
I
make
don't know.
maybe
I
one's like a
just
dragon and one's an orange dragon or something.
I think the sizes of the dragon matters. I think that so Darius is the golden one, and he's like maybe like in the middle. And the dragon that I think they're gonna be is like the biggest dragon that can ever be formed.
I'm super shocked that at the end of book 2 we didn't know what their order was. But I'm even more shocked that we haven't gotten hints. Normally I feel like because they say when you figure out what your order is, you figure out where you draw your power from. So Orion tells him like, watch when you feel tugs or zings or whatever, like that's your power calling to something. And I feel like we haven't gotten much of that.
But they're always refilling.
Right, they never empty.
Right. Because when her and Darius was training, he was like, "This girl's been running on this long,
I
and
think that was like a
she's
wake up moment for Darius. Like she's so much more powerful than I am.
yes, because he had to go and touch on
Hold
pots of
on, this
gold.
gold. Let me go lay with my gold in
Let
my
me
lap.
let me go look like Mr. T for a minute when I always go.
Can you imagine if he like wore big gaudy jewelry all the time? That'd be so funny. Oh, that would be so funny. But I'm like, you're right. They always have. It's not like their wells are ever empty, so they're somehow refilling their magic.
But we're
And
not getting any glimpse of how. I
we
wonder
know
if
they're super powerful because of that moment when Darius is like, I've been working for 2 hours and I'm drained, and she is not even bent. Like she's fine. And then Orion and Caleb, when they drink from them, they say they can feel how deep their power will is. So like,
also with Max when he said nobody has ever been able to get into my mind like that. Nobody's ever been powerful enough. So
yeah,
these girls are
they're the ones. Yeah.
they're the ones, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think they're super powerful. I think they're going to take the throne.
I can't wait to see what form they take. I just want to
I
know.
want
This
to know
is
if
the
too.
second book and you're keeping us waiting. Why?
I gotta give props though, because last week I was like, I hate a week at FMC, and it was so annoying. And I feel
Oh,
like this
they
week
turned it around.
they turned it around. Like this book, they decided we're not gonna put up with their shit anymore. We're not gonna play weak. We're gonna do everything in our power. And like you said, they outsmarted them. I don't have to fight you directly one on one with magic because I'm not powerful enough yet to beat you, but I can beat you
Yes.
other ways. And I cannot wait for the moment that all the heirs figure out who's been doing this stuff. I think Darius during the pitball match, when he's looking around at his team and he's realizing everyone is crumbling and falling apart, I kept waiting for him to look in the stands and see Tori and Darcy smiling, and I thought that
Like,
was going to be it. I thought he was going to be like, these
hi.
bitches, they did this to us. But I don't know. I'm waiting for it because I think they're going to find out.
And how, like, okay, so I was really like in my feelings when Darius got wounded and he's dying in her arms and she's crying and then here comes
That's they
Professor Daddy.
They're like,
Yeah.
mates,
Yes.
because she's
And
like, I don't know why, but the thought of him dying I can't
Will
accept
crush me.
it.
Yes, it will crush me.
Like, I will do whatever it takes. So, yeah,
Yes.
I mean, that was definitely like, but in the same instant, though, wasn't it Darius that said, you just proved your worth now? Mm-hmm. Like, you just proved to everyone here how strong you are, how important you are. It's so ingrained in them to want this throne, and it's so ingrained in them to believe that they're the best choice for Celeria. And I think at the beginning they were. Because you're going to think, Darcy and Tori didn't know anything about Celeria. They didn't even know anything about the Fae, the Order. They don't have any clue about the history, the culture, the people. Nothing. But in this moment, they were able to defeat the nymphs pretty much. I mean, they turned the tide. They turned the tide for sure in that battle. Without them, I think that would have been a totally different outcome. And Darius said, you just proved your worth. So, like, everyone here that thinks the Celestial Heirs should take the throne, they're going to have seen this and be like, well, maybe not. And this is just, I feel like, the first of these occurrences. Like, it's going to be obvious.
Especially Big Bad Darius admitting that to them. And he's the main one, like, his father is the main one, like, hey, we got to get these girls out. We got to do this. This is not working. Bring them to the house so I can have a look at them so I can meet the other council members. His father is the one that's really counting on.
I can't wait for that guy to get it.
Me too. His father's the main one that's counting on them to ruin the girls. And for him to say that to them was a pivotal point in the book to be like, you guys, you're being seen now. I thought it was dope.
After it was about time. Book, I have this like fairy tale happy ending image in my head of like Darius and Tori on one throne, and then Darcy and Orion on the other throne, and everybody living happily ever after. And I'm like, somebody's gonna die. Something bad is gonna happen. Like, I just know it.
I feel like somebody's gonna die. I absolutely feel like somebody's gonna die. I don't know. I
don't know. But I have this image and I'm like, listen, if this is like reality TV trash book, I should be able to get my happy ending. Like, that's fair.
At least some part of it. I mean, you know, it is fair.
Let's have 4 thrones. Let's have Tori and Darius on one and Darcy and Orion on the other 2. And then, like, Seth can be out in the woods with his wolf pack. I don't care about him. Caleb can have somebody and be happy. And, like, Geraldine can be, like, their captain of their guard or some shit. And they'll all happily ever after.
I think Seth and Caleb is going to be, I don't know. I just got a feeling. Seth tends to rub on Caleb a lot.
But it's so funny because when you got Caleb's point of view, Caleb's like, I'm the one that likes it the least. Yeah. I have the least tolerance for it because I'm a vampire, and vampires are the opposite of touchy-feely. So I don't know why he's always trying to... And I did like that even Caleb got his revenge on the heirs a little bit. Right after the dance and right after what they did to Tori and Darcy, he feeds off of each one of them.
Oh, I know. He did it for a while, too.
As punishment, to show them how unhappy he was. And he chooses different times, but he feeds off each one of them and takes some of their power.
Yeah, I agree. I like that. I gave him a little notch up. Yeah.
I said I like Caleb and I like Darius. I could really care less for Max, and I hate Seth. Like, the orgy scene for me was disgusting. It made me want to vomit. And like, the authors didn't go into detail. It wasn't like it was like pornographic.
Like, yeah, but it was just
the thought of like Seth with all these people and they were all like, ugh, it's so gross.
It was hard to read. I think I skipped some of the pages. I'm not even gonna lie.
He's like all up in Darcy's face and I'm like, ooh, stop.
You want to brush your teeth first, buddy? Like, you like, type of shit you on.
Well, you look at you with your slob. Wait, go brush your teeth.
With everybody's slob.
Go brush your teeth before you talk to me. Don't even come in my room.
Right. It was gross. I think that... I was going to say something. Oh, what do you think about the whole Claire situation? Like, nobody's throwing a big fuss about a 12-year-old child that... I don't know if she got... What happened to her, because they didn't go into detail about what happened to her. But this was a 12-year-old child, and the mother is sleeping with Lionel.
Gross.
Like,
Lionel's the worst guy. Professor Washer and Lionel are the worst characters in this book, and you're sleeping with Lionel. And like, not only that, but it's clear that you in some way sacrificed your own child for something.
Yes.
And then you even said it should have been Lance. I should have just sacrificed Lance. And the whole situation, like I said, there are so many questions surrounding that. There's the lunar eclipse, the death of Clara, what Lance and Orion have planned, or what Lance and Darius have planned for Lionel, like all these secrets and unanswered questions.
Yes.
That
And then Darius's and Xavier's mom is such a damn pushover. Like, there's no way I can sit up here and listen
what
to
was
a.
she doing with Orion? She's like,
I
you can
don't
keep
know.
company. Ew.
Like, that's gross. And then this man, you wanted him to keep you company, but your son is about to be killed by his dad, and you said nothing. Like, come
Yeah.
on, lady. He's out here, y'all got him trapped in this room like he's the child called it or somebody, and you want to go
I
around and
felt so
flaunt
bad
your
for him.
tits everywhere.
I
Good
felt so
God.
bad for Xavier.
Me too, because it seemed like he's a really cool kid.
Yeah.
You are, you know,
And Darius
and
are obviously very close. And
yeah.
he grew up with the same parents that Darius did, and we know they're awful. And now he can't even leave his room because they're so afraid someone will know he's a Pegasus.
So I want to know he's a Pegasus. I wonder if, okay, so I wonder if that means that he ain't really Lionel's kid.
I wish Lionel had recessive Pegasus genes and
And he turned into a Pegasus.
like
From dragon to a Pegasus.
Pegasus with rainbow
Now
coat.
that would be funny. That'd be the ultimate revenge right there.
All right, do you have a favorite moment or line before we wrap it up?
My favorite moment was really all the times that Orion called Darcy Blue. I don't know why that tugs at me, but when he calls her Blue, it just seems like it's so.
It is intimate. And like him
I love
constantly
it.
asking her, "Are you gonna dye your hair?" Like him being so obsessed with it was fun to read. Like he kept asking, "I do it blue. The suspense is killing me."
Yes.
And I hope she dyes it. Like she grew it back. It didn't. It wasn't colored. It grew back her natural color, and she just leaves it like that. And I'm like, that's what makes you you. I wish you would. Maybe don't. Maybe I'm agree. Maybe don't dye it blue because you don't need the reminder, or do something different. Maybe dye.
Different.
Yeah, like just but do that because it was cute the way he could tell them apart and like how he had his nickname for her. So I hope she does dye it.
But just, I don't know, if I just feel like that's such, it can be sexy, it can be loving, it could be, it's just, every time I read it in the book, it just put a smile to my face and I loved it.
He is obsessed with her hair because, like you said, he also like was intentionally going after Seth just so he could get it back. And like he even says that to her. He says, "I got this back for you. I knew you would get it yourself one day, but it was my honor to get it for you."
See, man, listen. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think he's a little bit of a drunk, but I do really like him.
But I think he's a drunk because of all the stuff he goes. So I kind of understand. I mean, he lost his sister. He knows why. He doesn't. I mean, I'm not saying it's good to be an alcoholic. That's not what I'm saying. But I understand having a drink or two or three sometimes if you
Maybe
have all
Darcy
these.
can help him with that.
Oh, shoot. I'm sure she will. I'm sure she
All right.
will.
My favorite line of the whole book was when Seth is talking to Darcy and he says, "Didn't I break you?" And she says, "Iron is made stronger in the hottest part of the fire, Seth. You didn't break me, you forged me." And yes, get it, girl, because the whole last episode, I'm like, they're weak FMCs. I don't like reading. And this to me is what I want. I want you to look in his face after what he's done to you and say, even with your hair all chopped up still, you're still got a bald spot, and you're like, you didn't break me. You just made me stronger.
I loved it.
I
love that part too. And the look on his face, I know I can imagine the look on his face like, if she's not broken, let me try something else.
Now what can I do? Like,
what else can I do?
Yeah, so
I got another thing. So when Tori burnt down Darius's room, when she went looking and she found that letter from this Cindy Lou chick. You know what I'm talking about? They didn't say anything else about it. And I want to know who this Cindy Lou is.
You were going to talk about the dagger.
The dagger, too. I want to know what that is. Because it's calling to them. Whatever it is, it's calling to her and it's pulling to her.
And Lance knows what it is. Orion knows.
They both know what it is.
Right, but Orion said if he did the room searches, he could feel it. Darius has been around it and not felt it.
That's what I was talking about when I said there was something else that made me think it was something else. Made me think that Orion was something else.
Because he has the power in the dagger.
Yes.
I want to know what it is too. And I feel like they both said it was weird, but I feel like it calls to Tori.
Yes.
The one who's like, I don't know why I even have this in my hand, but something made me grab it and made me carry it with me. And now it's like, and like she'll even talk to herself. She's like, why are you carrying around this dagger? And then she'll be like, because I really want to, and it feels good in my hand, and I like the way. And so I'm like, it's meant for her maybe, or her power calls to it. I'm not sure, but it's going to be important to you. That's what I said. I can't believe we've read 1,000 pages already, and it's been like a span of 3 weeks, maybe.
And we're still just as clueless.
We have so many questions. I'm
I
looking
mean,
forward.
but everybody on the when we post our videos to TikTok, everybody's like, it's gonna be this crazy reality show that you're gonna be hooked. It's not gonna be the best writing. It's not gonna be the best
It's not a
storytelling.
literary masterpiece,
But
a
it's
lot of
gonna
people
keep
say
you
it's like
wanting.
the Roman Empire.
Yes, it's
Love
gonna keep
it.
you wanting to come back. And I feel like even though I'm giving these lower rankings of this book, I feel like I want to keep finding out. I want to keep going to the next book. So
Yeah, I'm excited for the third book. After the first book, I don't know if it wasn't for the podcast, if I would have read the second book.
I agree.
Knowing that we committed to it, and after talking, like you said, talking to people on TikTok about it, and then be like, you just have to get through the first book. Just it gets better with each book. I'm excited to read the third book. I think the second one was much better. I think it's setting up for a lot of interesting things to happen, and I'm getting used to, like I said, it's not a literary masterpiece. This is not winning some Nobel Award or like best whatever, but I'm getting used to the style of writing. I'm getting used to the cringy Fae book. Like I'm starting to get into the world. Like I'm starting to be part of it and understand it and like it. And I think a lot of that had to do with, like I said, when I did my summary, there wasn't a ton of important things that happened, but there was so much character development for Darcy and Tori, all this like badass chick vibe, and for Geraldine, and then you've got your heirs. They're starting to get their redemption arcs, and you're starting to get these relationships between Darcy and Orion, and Tori and Darius, and you're even starting to see like, you know, little other relationships like the brother and Professor Astrom, and then, you know, you've got Darius's dad. You've got all these different people coming into play, and it's setting up a lot of interesting things.
I agree.
I'm excited. I am excited to read the third book. Let us know what you all think about it. If you've made it this far, thank you for listening. Let us know. We're reading the third book next. If you have made it this far and you've watched and you have read Zodiac Academy, we are very curious what to do after book 3. We've seen a lot of recommendations for reading the prequel series first, but after you read book 3, you go to the prequel series. That's a 5-book series, and I don't think we really want to do that, but I also don't want to screw everything up and be mad at myself. But let us know. Is it okay to go right into book 4 and then worry about the prequel series later? I know there's a bunch of novellas, but I don't think any of those start till after 4, so we'll address that then. Or can we just read the 9 books and see what happens?
And be okay.
And be okay. Yeah. Like that's what. So if you have any opinions on that, let us know in the comments. Go follow us on our socials. We've got TikTok, Insta, Facebook. Go subscribe on YouTube. Every little bit helps to encourage us to keep going. We're having a ton of fun doing this. But thank you.
Thank you, guys. Bye.